VGC 2023 draft leagues are starting up right now, and it's so exciting. My name is The Jordan, and I have done an excessive amount of analysis and preparation for my draft, and I want to impart what I've learned to y'all. A number of things have come together in Gen 9 to make priority moves a more important and valuable part of the game, and so I want to do a deep dive into that part of the game. This should be useful if you're preparing for a draft, are currently drafting, or have already drafted and realized, oh no, I might not actually have priority moves, and it's going to be an important aspect of the game, more important than in past generations. So let's jump in. If you like this kind of analytical VGC content, please leave a like, comment, or subscription below. One element of the game, more popular in Gen 9, more common in Gen 9, is Tailwind. A lot of new Mons gained access to Tailwind that they might have had in the past but didn't have in Generation 8. And there's a new item, the Covert Cloak, which prevents the secondary effects of moves. So you put it on your Tailwind setter, it can't be faked out, it can't suffer speed drops from icy winds. A lot of the ways that people would normally stop Tailwind and stop that double speed effect are now just blocked by Covert Cloak, and there are a lot more Tailwind setters. So basically, most teams are going to have Tailwind and get it when they want to have it. So that means speed is going to be volatile in this game. If your opponent has Tailwind and you don't, then you might just get knocked out. And so normally you want some disruptive tools like Fake Out. So like other priority moves of your own that even if they're going first, you still can do something. Fake Out is a lot more limited in this generation. This is the current list of Fake Out. There's like some baby Mons below this, but this is the last year's format. So much more Fake Out. And so I think Game Freak finally understands that Fake Out's a really good move and they should only give it to Mons that otherwise aren't that great. The best pranksters. This is your other tool for making progress even when the opponent has faster Pokemon, is priority. Prankster gives you priority on all non-attacking moves, but there are fewer Prankster Mons than in the past format. You know, the top ones like Whimsicott, Tornadus, Thundurus, Meowstic, Liepard, they're all gone. So these are the ones we've got. Grimmsnarl clearly the king here, and it quickly falls off after a few more. So your best priority tools are rarer, and the speed is a lot more volatile with lots more Tailwind. So that means you're going to want priority attacks of your own. The promise of priority is the ability to win the game even when you don't have speed control. Not every game becomes a shootout where the faster team wins. If you have that priority move, you're able to clean up a Mon, take it out before it gets to move, and then you get some free turns. It makes your Mons more self-sufficient, right? They don't need a dedicated support. They don't need speed control because they can still do something first. And tricky positions get a lot more reliable when you have that priority KO. So priority moves themselves, priority attacks, are also rarer, which is why I'm finding them so valuable in the upcoming format. I'm going to show you the main priority attacks that exist in this format and who gets them. But this is one thing that opened my eyes to the value of priority moves in the last season of the VBL. There were two different divisions. Both players who drafted Mamoswine used it every single game. They played a total of 33 games in the regular season, and they brought it to 32 of them. And the last one, it apparently was there, but it just never hit the field. So they brought Ice Shard, and it was just a really important part of Mamo's value is that it doesn't normally go first on its own, but it can always go first with the priority Ice Shard. So that's something that really opened my eyes. Like both of these coaches made playoffs with their Mamoswine, so yeah, maybe I should start paying attention to this part of the game. So best priority move, most distributed priority move is Aqua Jet. So I see about 10 reasonably good users of Aqua Jet. You probably want one of them if you're not getting another priority user. Ice Shard's pretty good. There's about a half dozen usable attack stats with a stab Ice Shard. Like, you'll quickly see that like the list of actual priority moves is quickly dwindling here. 4 Mons in the whole format get Mach Punch, and maybe 2 of them are usable. 2 to 3 Mons get Vacuum Wave, and then you get to the point where there are like, Accelerock isn't even a move, it's like a gift to just Lycanroc. So it gets rarer and rarer actual usable priority attacks. If you have E-Speed, that is an amazing thing. Basically 3 viable Pokemon have it, but that is a particularly strong priority move. And it's faster than other priority moves. Quick Attack. Quick Attack is normally a nothing move, right? It's never doing enough damage, but if you're able to do 80 or 90% with your first hit, then you're able to reliably pick up. So any stab, quick attack might be usable if your attack stat's high enough. So I circled the normal types who might be able to make quick attack work in an environment where there's not a lot of other priority. Sucker Punch is very good. It's conditional priority, right? They have to be attacking, otherwise Sucker Punch does nothing. But it is very strong as a priority move. There are lots of good dark types, strong dark types that get it. It's just not something you can always rely on. And then finally, First Impression, right? Only valid the first turn you're out, so it's not something you can use the ways we plan to use priority, to pin the mon in front of you so that it can never do anything. No matter if Tailwind gets set up, no matter if Trick Room gets set up, you're always going first. But First Impression is not the reliable tool you're looking for. It's a very good surprise tool on your first turn out. But that's priority, and so we want to get into the numbers. It's one thing for me to say priority is good, but I'm one of the more analytical YouTubers, or I try to be, and so we want to say exactly how good is priority? How much can I count on it to do certain things? And so building an intuition about damage numbers is one of the most important things you can do in this game, because you don't want to have to calc everything every time. You want to have an understanding that a good stab priority move can probably do about a fifth to the average Pokemon. So I done the stats, and 80-80-80 is 50th percentile, middle of the road among fully evolved Pokemon in this VGC 2023 format. And Glalie has exactly those stats. So it's right in the middle, and Quackable can do, about a fourth to Glalie if it's not invested, and about a fifth or a little more to Glalie if it is HP invested. Of course, it could have even more bulk investment, but you probably can do that last 20%. If you've already seen that they're not a bulky mon, or they're not trying to invest in bulk, then maybe you can try to clean up the last 25 or 30%, but that's not actually that great. I was a little bit disappointed here. So right now, without any boosts, Priority's role is just to do that cleanup, right? You take one hit, you deal one hit, and then you might be getting KO'd first, but that priority move allows you to clean up, or if your mon gets KO'd, you bring in your priority mover next and get that revenge KO. It's something that singles players understand a lot better than us, is being in range of a priority move means that mon really can't do anything, right? Because it's just going to get knocked out by the priority move. But we want to do more with priority moves than just clean up. Note that this was a relatively, my example mon here is Quackable. It's got 120 attack. I need to update this. 120 attack. So it's more powerful than most mons with priority moves, but it's not an elite priority move user, and we'll see them. Those are the ones who I really think you should be drafting. But the majority of priority move users are really not doing that much. It's a rare gift in this format, and so Sableye may have that priority Shadow Sneak, but unless it's super effective, it's probably only doing 10 or 15%. It's not a particularly strong mon, so it's nice to have that tool, but know that it's just cleanup duty. It's not really doing solid damage on its own. And then if you don't have stab, if you're not the right type of the priority move you're using, then it makes a huge difference. 50%, but it really matters when you're talking about range to KO with a priority move. Flareon is as strong as a Scizor. It's stronger than Quackable, but it hits as hard as a Sableye because its priority move, quick attack, is not stab. So that's not great. 15% is really not enough to justify a slot a lot of the time, and so you might just rather run other moves. So here's a real matchup, two good Pokemon. Rotom Wash is slightly bulkier than the average mon. Both mons can hit each other super effectively, but both mons can KO each other. And so this just becomes a volatile matchup where it comes down to speed. Quackable, strong water move destroys the Rotom in most circumstances. Rotom, Thunderbolt usually is OHKOing the Quack back, but Aqua just doesn't seem like it makes much of a difference, right? If you want to be guaranteed to go first and do 40%, great, but then you're just giving up your chance to do more. And so you need boosts. You need boosts to put the pressure on, unless you're planning to just bring on Quackable as a cleanup mon, then you need ways to turn these 2-hit KOs into 1-hit KOs. And so our first way is abilities. Scizor is most known for clicking Stab, Priority, Technician, Bullet Punch. Technician makes its weaker moves 50% stronger, and Bullet Punch counts. Priority move off of the steel typing and with the technician boost and with its very high attack stat, starts to approach one-hit KOs. And that's amazing, right? A Mon can't do anything if it's about to be vaporized by a move that has priority. So any Mon weak to steel is basically useless in this matchup, particularly if you have an offensive Caesar. Technician and other boosts, other ability boosts that give you that 50%, start to turn priority moves into significant chunks of damage. It means that most Mons can do, powerful offensive Mons can do a 2-shot on most other Mons. They can get 50 or 70%, and that means that most Mons, with the combination of Caesar, are allow you to take out a Pokemon. And every time you can take out a Pokemon before they get to move, you're getting free turns, and you're definitely advancing your win condition. So 36%, 40%, a third is very, very good. There's a lot of circumstances in which that's enough. However, I want more power than this. I want to be in a position where all I need is my good priority move. I don't need help from my partner. So Life Orb. Life Orb's great, why not? So Life Orb was the difference in both those calcs. You know, the Mons were already good against, turning those into one-hit KOs. That's the Glalie there. And then the Mons that we're not good against, turning that into 2-hit KOs. So now we're pressuring basically everything with a 2-shot, which means that they only get one chance. They better make use of it. If we've got a Life Orb Caesar on the field, only Fire Punch is the only way in which Ursaring is taking out Caesar. And so what if you set up Rain? What if you use a partner to charm it? You know, what if you use a fire-resisting berry? It opens up your chances to win the game so much more when you have that pin, when they cannot do anything first, regardless of the speed conditions. They can't stall out Tailwind or Trick Room. You've got the priority move, and you're going to knock them out. They only get one chance if they're at full, and if they're at half, they get 0 chances. So that's the situation in which priority moves have a lot of value. If you're strong enough to threaten 2 shots, then you're in a really good position. There's limited ways to respond to that, right? Because even if they've got a faster Mon, they can protect and have that Mon do something. You've still got a partner too. So what priority moves do is allow you to neutralize a threat because you've pinned them, and then you need to trust in your partner to deal with their partner. So it simplifies some matchups, turns volatile matchups where it all depends on the speeds into safe wins. Terastallization is the most important new tool, and one of the things that made priority moves actively better, as opposed to all of the things that are now rarer that made priority moves better. Any priority move can become 33% stronger, which is effectively if you're a water type and you use Water Terra, you get an adaptability boost. You get an additional 1/3 on those attacks. And so we're turning other elite priority move users like Azumarill, with its ability, is effectively even stronger than Caesar. It doesn't have the technician boost, but it's in general, with most of its attacks, it's even stronger than Caesar, and it does have a priority move, so it's in range of OHKOing the majority of Mons that are weak to it with no boosts. You know, it doesn't need to set up. Just the Choice Band, just the Terra Water, you're actually, this is like one of those volatile matchups we were talking about, Quackable versus Rotom, but Quackable is never getting that one-hit KO, no matter how you invest in it, but Azumarill has that threat, and so Rotom really wants to click the Thunderbolt, but it can't. It just can't, because you have that option. The range of things you can do is the range of things your opponent has to respect. So they might just protect, try to get a Protect Read to try to make some progress against the Azumarill with their partner. The problem with protecting is that Azumarill has a setup move. It has Belly Drum, and so if you protect in front of Belly Drum, you've probably lost the game right there. And so that priority move is an important part of the overall threat bubble, whether or not it's actually on your moveset. Terastallization, if you use Terastallization, I'm going to assume you go look up this defining new mechanic of the generation, Terastallization. But if you use it on a new type, if you decide to Terastallize your Arcanine into a normal type, it's now getting Stab on Extreme Speed. And so Extreme Speed the granddaddy of priority moves that's stronger and faster than other priority moves. They only give it on Mons that generally can't make great use of it. That the only Mon to ever have normal type, extreme speed, and actually have a good attack stat was Arceus, like the god of all the Pokemon, and we don't actually use that. So with the power of Terastallization, you've turned your extreme speed into a real threat. They never intended strong normal types to have extreme speed in the format, but with Terastallization they can. You're threatening two-shots on everything. Normal is not super effective against anything, but it's only resisted by Ghost, Rock, Steel. So 15 out of 18, most Mons are just getting two-shot by this, especially. You put on that choice band. If you really want to commit to this, extreme speed and normal Terra, then you've placed an extreme burden upon every opponent here. Unless they've really invested in bulk, unless they have defensive tools around this, they're getting two-shot by every Mon is getting two-shot. Dragonite is bulkier than most Mons, than 80% of Mons. It's still getting two-shot by the choice-banded normal Terra, Arcanine, extreme speed. And so these are the three Mons that have extreme speed. They've all gotten way better because of Terastallization, and because you're OHKOing, or you're outspeeding the other priority moves that might be coming against you. So Dragonite is the number one. You've seen it on the ladder, but in Draft League we consider the number twos, number threes, because only one team can have the Dragonite. So I think Arcanine is always a great Mon, but it's become even better because of that normal Terra extreme speed option. Lucario, I think, is also on the rise because of that. It has a few priority moves. It's got Vacuum Wave, it's got Bullet Punch, and extreme speed. So I think that's a really important thing to have. Many matchups that you can't win without a priority move, Lucario has that difference maker. Yeah, so I've generally done my calcs on the average Mon, like 50th percentile, but we have to consider the range here. There are a lot of fast, frail Mons, and that's where priority moves can often make a big impact, because you're not naturally outspeeding Kilowattrel. It's got 125 base speed, not faster than 90% of Pokemon, but it is frail, right? Both of these Mons are about 15th percentile, and you're doing significant damage, not just with the elite priority move users, the Scizors and the Dragonites and the Azumarills, but with the pretty good priority move users. You use that Terastallization to get that boost. You're actually threatening a one-hit KO on Mons that are weak to the Aqua Jet, and you're threatening a two-shot on Mons that aren't weak to the priority move. So if you can sneak in that doubling, you turn a two-shot into a one-shot. So you've got your own setup here. You do fake out Sword Stance, or you do redirection plus Sword Stance, or you do screens plus Sword Stance to make sure you live the hit. Now you're in range of a one-hit KO on most faster, frail Pokemon, and those are the ones that you want to zap before they get a chance to set Tailwind or click Encore against you, or whatever the case may be. And then we also have to consider the other end of the scale, the really bulky Mons. Is it worth using priority moves against them? Not usually, because you need to be actually taking enough damage that you're doing better than they're able to heal themselves. Both of these guys are in the 97th percentile among Mons. Like, there's like 5. Garganical is number 5 in the whole full format in terms of physical bulk, and Hippowdon's top 10. So you're not able to actually make progress against them because they both have a 50% healing move. However, if you have an elite priority move user and you're using your boosting items and your Terastallization effectively, you're able to stop them from ever getting going and becoming the wolf they want to be. If Scizor uses Sword Stance, it is threatening a one-hit KO on Garganical with a priority move. So it doesn't matter if they set Trick Room, doesn't matter if they Iron Defense, as you Sword Stance, they're not actually making progress. They double their defense, you're doubling your offense, and to be honest, I'd rather have double offense, right? Because you can use your double offense against anyone. So it's becoming a one-hit KO with +2 Scizor, which means you're becoming a 2-hit KO on Hippowdon. In fact, you're doing more than half here, so it can try to recover spam against you or slack off or whatever its move is, but you're still making progress, and so effectively Hippowdon cannot exist, or cannot do anything. It cannot accomplish much while Scizor has gotten a Sword Stance and is on the field. there's really just not a lot they can do at that point. So you do need that time, right? With one turn of setup, priority moves come from cleanup duty to maybe at their best, like a pretty good threat, to an actual win condition. Let's get back to Azumarill. Azumarill is amazing and is one of the mons that's excited me the most for this generation because it has that elite priority, stab priority, and a very high attack stat, but it also has a ways to boost that attack stat to stratospheric levels. Belly Drum quadruples your attack. Really, really good when you have a priority move, because that means you're actually destroying most mons in the format with Stab Aqua Jet. So Azumarill, not fast on its own, but speed does not care if you've got priority. So you're actually destroying the Garganical twice over once you've set up your belly drums. So that means it can Terastallize. Like, that's the challenge with priority moves. Is that if people really respect it, they can turn their mons into types that resist the priority move. But with Belly Drum, we become so strong that we almost don't care. Garganical is prepared for the Azumarill. It comes and it brings Grass Terastallization to resist the grass move. If we set up a Belly Drum, we are still in range to potentially two-shot this thing. And then, of course, if we don't use the priority move, +6 applies to all our moves, we could still click Play Rough or something and destroy this Garganical. But priority moves here allow us to pin. Regardless of the speed conditions, we get to go first. And so Belly Drum Aqua Jet is just so strong. With the added tool of Terra Water, you're threatening an Oko on the majority of mons with a priority move. Incredible. And so this is our only real showcase for this episode. The main focus was on understanding we're at like a fourth. If we boost, we're at a third. If we're really, really good, we're at half, and then we boost it from there. Those are our benchmarks. But Azumarill is the mon I think is really going to be on the rise in this new generation because of its access to elite priority damage. So Aqua Jet I think is its best move, though obviously it has other things. That's one of the things that makes Azumarill so good, is that it's a great mon before it got Aqua Jet, and that's what is the icing on the cake that makes it a threat against mons that would normally outspeed it. We've got very good typing, Water and Fairy, and good stabs, Liquidation and Play Rough. We have not a lot of coverage, but enough coverage. The ice is very important there. We can do utility. It got a new move, Trailblaze, which allows it to boost its speed and not necessarily rely on priority moves. Trailblaze gives it 50% more speed. Belly Drum is the key game changer here. If you can get a Belly Drum and set Trick Room without dying, then you probably won the game, because Azumarill can sweep from there with its strong moves. But the addition to Azumarill's toolset is the ability to not need the speed support. It doesn't need to set Trick Room. It doesn't need Tailwind, because Aqua Jet is always going first. So, this mon is good. The last dimension to it, besides as a huge attacker with its huge power ability, is support. This mon is pretty bulky. That's one of the things that allows it to set up more reliably, is that it can take that one hit to the face while it clicks Belly Drum a lot of the time. But Draft League is all about keeping your opponent guessing, and so the surprise support of Azumarill with Icy Wind, Chilling Water cuts their attack, Charm cuts their attack even more, Fake Tears as a combo move with a good special attacker, Screens, Sing, why not? These moves have value, especially the Parasong here. Parasong can be a win condition by itself, though maybe that should be a discussion for another day. But know that this is a pretty good support mod. It's not fast, meaning it's not a great support mod, but as a mix-up it's good. And it's an elite attacker, and it's a elite priority move user. So when you're doing your research and you're looking into a mon that has a good priority move, not because you're going to bring it every week, but because you want that option to be flexible in different game plans, Aqua Jet and Ice Shard are some of your best ones. You've got Shadow Sneak and Bullet Punch and moves that are rarer and rarer, but in terms of the moves that are actually going to be a difference maker, you're going to want to check if your opponent's mons has Aqua Jet and if your mons has Aqua Jet. If you've got an Ice type, you probably want it to have Ice Shard, because Water is only resisted by 3 types. Ice is only resisted by 4, and they're pretty good against a lot of different things. So this is good enough for me that I'm gonna wait to release this until I've made my first few picks. Azumarill is like very high on my list. I'm planning to first pick Mousehold as an amazing support that will synergize with Azumarill, and then going straight for Azumarill. If not, maybe I can try to do the same thing. So Titan does have Belly Drum, does have good bulk, it does have Ice Shard, so that is something going for it that can maybe make it approximate Azumarill. But Azumarill, just Water Fairy is just so lovely. That's my plan, so I'm gonna commit to it. I'm gonna at least take my own advice here. So I recommend on a scale of 1 to 9, this is approaching top tier levels. If you really understand what's rare in the format, good fairy types, also rare. Good power, like this is one of the more elite numbers in a more limited power level format. So this is a mon that you should really be considering in the top 2 rounds, and I don't think it is quite getting that level of attention. So we shall see if I'm proven wrong there, but I think I'll be able to get this guy round 2. This was the previous episode of the Draftables that convinced me that I should look into priority moves yet, because this is one of the only things stopping some of the glass cannons that were active before we mostly banned these Paradox Mons. Once the Paradox Mons are back in 3 or 6 months, the speed situation is about to become even more volatile. All these Paradox Mons can get plus 50% speed on a dime with the booster energy, and they're very strong. So how do you beat a Fluttermane? You're not going to reliably outspeed a speed boosted Fluttermane. You need a priority move, and so Fluttermane has to sash basically a lot of the time to stop the priority moves that are threatening a one-hit KO on a glass cannon. So very, very important now, about to become even more so when the Paradox Mons are back. Okay, let's get to our overall conclusions here. You probably didn't pay a lot of attention to most priority moves in Generation 8. It was hard to make meaningful progress against the Dynamax Pokemon with your 40 base power priority moves. But the conditions have changed. There's no more Dynamax, there's Terastallization, which means any priority move can get stronger with an offensive Terastallization. There is more Tailwind, so speed is going to be volatile, and there is less Prankster, less Fake Out, less U-Direction. All the tools that you use to avoid the fact that the faster Mons are usually winning the game, those tools are gone, so this is your remaining tool in a lot of circumstances. The things I mentioned are still there, but you need to be considering priority attacks as an important element of your overall threat bubble. I can hit you hard, but I can also hit you first, reliably. So if you're not investing into your priority attacks, it still has one job, cleanup, right? You can do that 80% and know you don't need to get the KO because your priority move user can reliably clean it up. But it's not going to be your main attack. If you're not putting on the Life Orbs, if you're not using the elite priority move users like Azumarill, like Caesar, like Dragonite, like Ceruledge, Shadow Sneak, some of the best priority move users really turn the calcs to the point where priority moves have a lot more value in a lot more circumstances. If you can get that to a KO, then you should always be putting a priority move on there, because you just can't guarantee you're going to be going first in all circumstances unless you use a priority move. If you support your priority move users, then you get more than that one shot. A 2-shot is okay if you're going to get 2 chances. So with a turn of setup, priority moves become the win condition rather than just the good threat, the fast threat, but they become a way to stop Mons from being able to do anything. Any Mon that is OHKO'd by a +6 Azumarill Aqua Jet cannot play the game unless they stop Azumarill from setting up that belly drum. And you have the flexibility whether you want to do that turn 1 with support or whether you want to do that later in the game. It gives you a lot of different ways to win the game rather than just every game being a shootout. So if you don't have an elite priority move user, and it doesn't look like there are that many, so not everybody's going to have one, then you better have priority support. And by that I mean support moves that ignore the traditional speed rules, like Fake Out is always going before normal attacks, Redirection is going before normal attacks, Quick Guard, also another tool to specifically block priority. You need these tools. These are your tools against priority moves, because Tailwind will not save you, Trick Room will not save you, Icy Wind will not save you. You need this option in your next draft league. I really believe in this, and I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. Azumarill's probably gonna end up on my team, so wish me luck in the upcoming season.